Hello everyone, in this video I would like to share about the life cycle assessment of smartphone. In this video we are going to cover the 5 major contents about smartphone, which are introduction, history, life cycle assessment of smartphone, environmental impacts and solutions to minimize the impacts. For the part 1 of this video is introduction. What is the definition of a smartphone? A smartphone is a cellular telephone with an integrated computer and other features that is not originally associated with telephones, such as an operating system, web browsing and the ability to run software applications. Commonly, smartphones are popular used by the consumers for engagement. Consumers using smartphone to engage with friends and family and also get connectivity with all over the world in the form of social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn and WhatsApp. Next, nowadays people using smartphones to do online shopping and to get other services via easy method through Lazada online, Grab Food by Foodpanda service, getting a transport service with using Grab service and other essential services only using their smartphone. Next, smartphone also popularly used for to pay bill payments using online bill payments method. Smartphones really helpful to consumers in order to make their life easy and meaningful. The part 2 of this video is history of smartphone. We talk about the evolution of a smartphone from 1992 to until now. In the year of 1992, the first smartphone was created by IBM Company and released in the market in 1994. It was called the Simon Personal Communicator, SPC, and owned the title of World's First Smartphone. Next, in 1998, Nokia 5120 smartphone was launched. It was the first Nokia brand smartphone and was quite famous for around a decade. Next, Apple's iPhone was debuted in year 2007 and invented by Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs' idea was in order to replace a keyboard and mouse with a touchscreen device that this smartphone brought that change. Apple iPhone was seen as the prototype for the current generation of smartphones. However, it still faced major challenges such like Wi-Fi and cellular network weren't fast, lack resolution and so on. From 2009 to 2010, Android smartphones started catching up with Apple. In 2010, Android became the second most popular smartphone platform in the world. The uniqueness of Android is, unlike Apple, it is an open source and allows manufacturers to distribute their own devices and can even modify the base OS. Next, in the era of 2010 to 2017, Android Open Source Project, AOSP, smartphone was created. In year 2019, Apple was announced a new device that was iPad OS. The iPad connects to the iPhone and acts like a monitor. However, Android type of smartphones are the dominance in market and number of consumers are more than Apple phone until now. Let's go further to the major part of this video, which is part 3, the life cycle assessment of a smartphone. For the recap of life cycle assessment, there is 5 steps of a smartphone lifestyle from cradle to grave. Which your first step starts from raw material extraction. Second step is manufacturing and processing. Third step is transportation. Fourth step is usage and retail, and the last step is waste disposal. First step we are going to discuss about is raw material extraction of a smartphone. A smartphone contains of many earth minerals and toxic substance in order to producing a functional smartphone. Some of the raw material extraction I have included in this video. We see them. A smartphone contains copper in it that is used as wires and as printed circuit boards. Aluminum used as shielding plate. Cobalt used for to produce battery. Tin used as solder that connects the components of the smartphone. Iron used for all screws in smartphone. Next, palladium used for the contact surface between individual components in smartphone. Silver used in conductive tracks of the printed circuit. Gold used for smartphone's contacts on a SIM card and on the battery. Finally, indium used for LCD displays. Next step we are going to discuss is about manufacturing and processing. There are 6 steps in manufacturing and processing of a smartphone. The first and foremost step is making a prototype. The idea of making smartphone generated in the boardroom meeting, and after considering various options, the affirmation passed to the research and development lab. The research team then passed it on the model to the relevant people so that they may give their opinion to make any changes if required. Second step is software installation. The function of software teams are pre-decided on the operating system that is to be loaded into the phone, and it is checked by many experts in their own manner for the system to be working according to the expectation. The third step is testing phase. Before the production begins, the handset is rigorously tested for quality, performance, and other parameters. They are tested in terms of both hardware and software. The fourth step is mass production. It is time for mass production after the final prototype is ready. In this, the internal components of smartphones manufactured in-house are outsourced. Later, the new model information being launched by the company leaked to the masses for publicity. It is very helpful because it will popularize us to the public, and they will get to know about the new model going to launch. The fifth step is packaging. When the handset passes all the tests, it is sent for packaging. The handset along with accessories and user manual are put into the box ready to be shipped. The final step of the entire process is shipment. The packaged smartphones are then dispatched to distributors, stockists and retailers across the globe, and then from these retailers it is ended by customers buying it. The third cradle-to-grave step is transportation. Smartphones transported to the retailer's hand by locally and then globally. 3 types of transports involved in this, which are land transportation such like in a big truck, air transportation via local and international planes, and water transportation by ships. The fourth step of cradle to grave is usage and retail. Smartphones are being given to the retailer's hand and then sell it by them in phone stores, inside the mall, via online methods through Lazada and Shopee kind of platforms, and also by selling outdoors. Selling outdoors usually sells second-hand smartphones, and only some consumers would prefer buying second-hand. In these ways, the smartphones finally ended up in customers' hand and they will utilize it. The last step of cradle to grave is waste disposal of a smartphone. Usually the used smartphones ended up in landfills, which can simply dumping activities also could happen. Next is by throwing in proper recycling bin, because smartphone is an electric waste, and unfortunately most consumers do not practice this habit in their lifestyle. The part 4 of this video discussion is environmental impacts of using a smartphone due to its life cycle assessment. A full life cycle assessment of a smartphone brings environmental impacts. From the raw material extraction step, it is found the extraction of earth minerals may bring most impactful with regards to toxicities, because it generates toxic waste and it is unsustainable. Some of harmful effects to the environment as extraction of copper will interrupt the activity in soil, negatively influences the activity of microorganisms. Cobalt in smartphone lead to carbon dioxide and nitrogen dioxide gas emissions and cause global warming. Iron will cause air and water pollution. And aluminum smelting process is known to be 92,000 times more harmful than carbon dioxide gas. Manufacturing and processing step also gives impact to the environment. Carbon footprint is generated at this stage due to mining, refining, transport and assembly of the dozens of chemical elements, and it has contributed over to 80% of the global warming cases. Smartphone also generates more greenhouse gases than any other consumer electronic devices during this process, and it is very harmful to the environment. Environmental impacts due to transportation are degradation of air quality due to emits of greenhouse gases and increased threat of global climate change. Overall transportation throughout the life cycle was estimated to be around 10% lead to global warming potential impact. Next impact is degradation of water resource. If leakages of oil from ships happen, it will contaminate the ocean and affect the marine life. Some other impacts due to transportation are habitat loss due to land clearance to create highways and road and noise pollution from the construction work and from vehicles. From retail and usage, the usage of smartphones unknowingly creates greenhouse gas emissions, and per year, the impact was estimated releases 19 kg of carbon dioxide gases to the atmosphere. Daily usage of smartphone in our life leads to the global warming due to the energy consumption by the user. The final stage of life cycle assessment is waste disposal, that is the smartphone affects afterlife. Even after a fruitful life of use, toxic metals in smartphones will continue to contaminate water and soil when ended up in landfill sites. Some of other impacts are metals that build up in soil can enter the food chain and cause health problems, including damage to the nervous system, reproductive system, cancer, and many more harmful effects to humans' health. And dumping smartphones creates long-term pollution risk to the environment. The final part for this video discussion is part 5, which are solutions to minimize a smartphone's impact. Some steps that you or the consumers of smartphone users can be followed are: first, abstaining from replacing your smartphone frequently. We should try to use a smartphone for at least 5 years in order to not keep on changing new smartphones every or after 2 years. Next step can be followed as recycling and reusing your smartphone. Reuse can extend product life and means less environmentally damaging extraction, less energy consumption, and less waste. The handsets, batteries, plastics, and accessories may be separated according to their chemical and material composition and can be recycled. The metals that can be used as good quality raw materials again. Third step can be followed as dispose in a proper way, such like disposing in e-waste bins rather than throwing in normal dustbins without segregation. The last step can be followed by you as: do not buy children to play with smartphone as a trend. Give playing instruments rather than giving them smartphone as a gaming tool. By this way, we can reduce the usage of too much of smartphones. That's all from me. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and share my video to your family and friends.